Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back, and I want to welcome to the show Stefan Padfield. We've had him on once before, and he's with the Free Enterprise Project. And that is a program under the National Center for Public Policy Research. They have so many good programs, and they are getting involved with businesses and politics. So it's a really good organization to support. And you can go to their website at nationalcenter.org, and I encourage you to do so. So welcome to the show, Stefan.
Thanks so much for having me back. It's great to be here.
Just quickly, tell everybody, what is the Free Enterprise Project?
So the Free Enterprise Project is one of the projects that the National Center for Public Policy Research oversees, and it's focused on corporate governance. So some of the things that we do are we file shareholder proposals, we engage with asset managers, which I think we'll be talking about a little bit here in a few minutes. We, sort of inform the public through op-eds and various media appearances. We get out on the road and debate and give speeches and so forth. So it's all basically focused on corporate governance and trying to get businesses back to neutral, back to focusing on the bottom line and away from this hyper-politicized woke capitalism that we've been seeing the last few years.
I love that, getting businesses back to neutral, of course. And I just want to say, I don't have an asset manager, but this all affects us, right? So I'm gonna put up a headline of an article you recently wrote. Do asset managers hate their conservative clients? What is that about?
Right. So as you say, even if someone doesn't think they're dealing with an asset manager, if you're involved in any sort of a pension plan, there's a really good chance that there's an asset manager somewhere making decisions about your money. And so one of the things that we're concerned about is there's really these big three asset managers, right? So BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, they own essentially something like 90% of the market. And they do things like engage with companies, pressure companies, vote on shareholder proposals. And the pitch of the article basically is that when you look at the way they exercise their power in the marketplace, it's very left-leaning. And I focus specifically on the issue of ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance factors, and also DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion falls underneath that. And if you look under the hood of ESG, even though it's often pitched as just a way to assess value, it really ends up being a very left-leaning platform. And so the idea is, look, if these asset managers are really neutral and care as much about their conservative clients as they do their left-leaning clients, they should be pretty balanced in how they deal with ESG. And yet what we find is they're very significantly oriented in favor of ESG and not in favor of what we would call the pro-fiduciary duty, pro-bottom line proposals that we support.
So can you give some examples? It used to be that there was just good investments and bad investments, and now ESG and DI are having an impact on that. In what way?
So there's a couple of really sort of common ways. So one is with climate change, right? So what you see a lot of proposals pushing is this net zero by 2030 agenda. And there's a lot of reasons to think that that is a really inefficient and bad agenda from the standpoint of a particular corporation's bottom line, right? That we really don't have the technology, it undermines national security, it forces companies to divert assets from what are known profit maximizing investments like oil and gas investments, and yet it gets pushed by these climate change activists. And what you end up finding is when you look at the voting and you look at the engagement, there's a lot of pressure being put on these companies to support these agendas that are certainly from our perspective undermining the bottom line and essentially anti-capitalist. And the same thing with diversity initiatives, right? The way to increase value is to put the best people in the best position to succeed, rather than putting people in positions or denying positions based on the color of people's skin or their gender identity. And yet that's what this sort of woke left cabal, we sometimes refer to it as, is pushing, is these diversity initiatives that are focused on different things than just maximizing the bottom line.
So you give us all this information, and I know I have talked with some people that I work with, And I said, I absolutely do not want you putting me in anything that has to do with BlackRock and Vanguard. And they looked at me like, why would you not want them? They look at how their funds return and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, 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 no. It's the principle. But I'm wondering, what do you do with your assets then? When you talk about all this, how can our viewers and how can we know, where do we go with our things, you know, to stay on the side that we believe in?
Right. So, fortunately, working at the National Center, our own, pension investments are handled by an asset manager that is more bottom line focused. And I mentioned in the article that there are alternatives. So, for example, Strive Asset Management, which was founded by Vivek Ramaswamy, who's currently running for president, and is also has somewhere up high in his organization a former person who used to work with us, Justin Danhoff, who's really great at identifying these issues and attacking them. So they're really focused on just the bottom line and getting politics out. We ourselves at the center are pushing a couple of products. We've got a Proxy Navigator app that allows people to basically track our voting recommendations, and we're going to soon roll out another app that does that automatically.
Excellent.
So one more reason to go to the nationalcenter.org and see what you've got there, because you do feel, especially if you, like you say, your pension funds, most people who work for a company or for the state or whoever, the government, we don't have any say in that sort of thing, right?
Right,
So,
and it's one of the things that is there's a big push to create more transparency and to give people more choice, and a lot of that I referenced some of that with the 1792 Project, for example, is another group that does a lot of work in this area. So there are more options coming, and we are certainly pushing for more options for investors.
okay, we're going to take a break and we're going to switch gears and talk about reverse discrimination at companies, because that's causing a problem too. So don't go away.